What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, this is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today, we're going to take a Kickstarter preview, setup, rules overview, and a little bit of my thoughts on Area 1851 Express by Justin Blaski and published by 524 Labs. This is a card drafting game for 2 to 5 players, plays in about 30 to 45 minutes, and in this game you're going to be putting cards down, building these different kind of gizmos and gadgets and all kinds of weird stuff, using leftover parts from alien spaceships, trade things from the Native Americans, and also settlers set in 1851. So let's go ahead and set the game up, take a look at how it plays, and then we'll come back and I'll let you know what I think. In Area 1851 Express, you are going to be playing a resident of this particular area where aliens have landed amongst the settlers. Whether you want to think of yourself as a settler, native, or alien is totally up to you, and it doesn't really matter as far as I can tell. So, first off, this is all prototype components. So you have a bunch of these money tokens, or not money, point tokens you can set on the side. You're going to have a bunch of these tokens which represent some of the special abilities that you can save up for use at later turns. These are 3D printed, so they definitely are not final, but if they do come out in these particular shapes, I think that they are fun. You got a thumbs up, a hammer. This is supposed to be a stasis field. I'm not sure if that's going to be like a dome or something like that. You got a shovel. This one is showing that you get to swap cards around. So there's those 5 different things. You got a rule book, which again, this is prototype, but it is well laid out. It was easy to read. You can definitely tell that this is an experienced designer. I know I enjoy Mint works. I haven't played Mint Delivery yet, but I enjoy Justin's work already. So I think that that bodes well for this game going forward. So each player is then also going to get one of these player aids. There are 2 sides to it. One of them is a little bit more of a detailed description of some of the different things that you can do, different abilities that can come up, and then the other side is going to be showing where your scrap heap is and where your workspace is, and pretty much gives you most of the information that you need as well. Then you're going to be taking the pile of cards, separate out, there are 6 thing cards. These represent the base that you can build off of. If you ever end up starting around with a hand that doesn't have any of these, you can choose to discard a card from your hand to grab one of these to be the kind of the base, the foundation of your gizmo gadget thing that you're building, but they are worth 0 points. So they will get set here, they'll get shuffled up. They don't matter too much other than, because they're all the same, they're all worth 0, they all have the same number of connections, but they have different abilities that they can kind of give you, and they also are all either an alien, which is the green cards, settlers, which is the blue, and or native, which is going to have the brown numbers up in the corner to show the score. There's also a little bit of a different icon behind it for those that are like colorblind and things like that. So matching or not matching some of the different whether you're alien, native, or settlers does matter. So you want to make sure that you have that randomized, and then all of these cards are going to be set, and then you're ready to deal. And you can see on here it says at the beginning of each round you're going to be getting 7 cards each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the game's played over 3 rounds. So this will be the first of 3 rounds. And as with most drafting games, you are going to be choosing one of the cards that you have in hand and playing it. Now, you are 9 times out of 10 going to be playing a base on your first turn. The only other thing that you could really do is take a card and put it in your scrap heap, because whenever you play a card, you're going to choose to either put it in your workspace, which you have to have at least 1 base, which, remember, it's going to have this icon, and that means it's kind of the central piece of your gadget that you're building. So you can play 1 card into your workspace, or you can choose to put that card into your scrap heap, which you can save for later then to finish up gadgets that you're building later, or sometimes there's ways to get points, and there's ways to kind of trade cards in and out of your scrap heap and your workspace, so it kind of just gives you some utility going forward, or maybe you just got an ability that you want to save for a specific time. But anyway, let's say that this character over here, we'll just choose that card and we'll pass. And over here, you'll go ahead and choose this one because it's quick and easy to set up. So you're going to build something involving leggings. So this is a base card and only has one attachment point. So on the left side of the card, you'll see an attachment point with 3 straps on it. And on the right side of the card, you're either going to see you're going to see 2 attachment points down near the bottom, or 1 attachment point at the top, and some cards will have all 3 of them. So you can have a combination of those. Really, more attachment points just gives you more ways to earn points, because each of the pieces that you put on is going to be worth a varying amount of points, and some of them are going to give abilities as well. So the more points there are, the more points you can get, and the more abilities you can get, but if you don't have a gadget finished by the end of the round, it gets discarded completely. So there's a little bit of a risk there. So I started this one, which has 2 connection points, and this one that you started has 1 connection point. This one, if I finish it, it's going to give me one of these shovels. And the shovel, for instance, will let you draw 1 card or take a card from the scrap heap and discard a card. So you can either take another card from your scrap heap to use, or you can draw another card in here to maybe give you a better option going forward. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, which is especially going to be useful when you're down to like 1 or 2 cards in hand and you just really hope that you can get something else. And this one right here, when you get it, it is going to give you one of these tokens, which you can use on a later turn to select 2 zones, either your hand, scrap heap, or workspace, and swap a card. So you can take a card from your hand and swap it with one that's down here, or you can take a card from your scrap heap and swap it with one that's out here, or 1 card that's in your hand. So it gives you, again, a little bit more flexibility to kind of work with your scrap heap and your workspace. So then we'll go to the next hand, and let's see here. I can grab, let's see, what do these abilities do? Well, that one's pretty good for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play that one. And you over here, why don't we just strive for finishing this gadget? And let's go with this one. So you're going to go like that. So now you have finished your first gadget. So when you finish a gadget, you can go ahead and name it. This is the hand-fashioned leggings. So you can kind of gets fun, especially when you start to get all kinds of weird names to it. And you are going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So you'll go ahead and take 4 points. And then this says that you get a hammer and one of these swap tokens. The hammer gives you the ability to take a mod or unmodified, take 1 mod or unmodified base from your workspace or scrap heap into your hand and play an additional card this turn. So you can pick a card up from your scrap heap and then play 2 cards. So that one's pretty useful. And I'm going to take this card and put it here. This one has a skull in the bottom. And you see it's worth a lot of points. The skull says when it's completed, you have to discard a card from your scrap heap, which right now I don't have a card in my scrap heap, so I'm gonna try and get that while the getting is good. Well, it's not gonna really cost me anything. Since you finished scoring this, you're going to put it in the discard pile, and then you're going to have to start with another base. Over here, I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and finish this. Right now, I do not have any cards in this hand that can finish this gadget. I could start another gadget. That's totally fine. I could, let's see, what does that ability do? I can add cards from this gadget to your scrap heap. That's pretty good for being able to finish things off later. But you can also take any card that you want, and you can choose to, like I said, you can either put it down in your scrap heap, you can put it in your workspace, but you can also use it as scrap. So you can kind of use that, the card face down to finish anything or to as a connection for anything. Over here, you are going to need to start a new gadget, and you only have 1 base over here, so we'll start with that base. So, since I played this as scrap, it can go on any connection point. Any card can go onto any connection point to help finish a gadget. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Now I have some worn out multi-sense, or scrapped together, worn out multi-sense obfuscator. Whatever that is. So I'm going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Let's go ahead and grab these. Hopefully these are double-sided. I'm pretty sure they will be because this is, as I said before, this is an experienced designer and publisher. I don't think that they'd make kind of that simple a mistake to just have things on one side. This is just prototype stuff. So 9 points, I'm going to get the shovel, and because I don't have anything in my scrap heap, this skull effect isn't going to take effect, and this will move to the discard pile. So play will continue like this, with you putting cards in your scrap heap, putting cards out in front of you until you get to the end of the round. So let's go ahead and I will quickly jump to the end of this round. Alright, so we jumped ahead. This player has gotten a couple cards in their scrap heap because this ability allows you to take 2 cards from the gadget that you finished and put them in your scrap heap, kind of to use to recycle. So I took these once I finished it and scored the 2 points, and I was able to put it back into my scrap heap, so that was nice. Over here, this player had to discard a card once in order to grab one of these things, and they were also able to finish a couple gadgets. One of them gave them this stasis field. So now we're on our last card of the round. This player can take this and put it here, and this is in their scrap heap. So they can do that, and they're going to go ahead and put this stasis token on there, because if they don't, they're going to have to either, well, since they don't have enough pieces of scrap to be able to finish that, they'd have to discard it. So the stasis field allows it to stay from round to round. Over here, this player has 1 card that they could play, but so we're going to go ahead and play it just to see what the other options are. So, end of round. Some of the things that are going to happen are you have the ability to play cards from your scrap heap to complete gadgets, and but these ones that are going to be completed, you'll only get rep. You're not going to get effects, so you're not going to be able to get these kind of extra things from them. So now I can take up to 2 cards, or as many cards as I want, and play them to these connection points. So I can look in here and see what I've got. Right now, I don't have anything that will actually finish that. But I do have cards, which means I can go ahead and take these 2, and I can play them as scrap. So I've got a thoroughly scrapped together cooking pot. So rather than just discarding that card and getting nothing, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So I'm able to use, at the end of the round, some cards from my scrap heap to quickly finish this up. But it's not going to be worth as many points because I'm going to have to use scrap sometimes, although if I had the right cards it would be nice. And I'm not going to get the special ability, which this particular one says that when all of the cards in this gadget are the same type, so if they're all native, or if they're all alien, or if they're all settled, then you're going to get extra bonus points for that. I will not get that bonus because, well, first of all, scrap is a different type, and I don't get that bonus anyway because it's an effect, and effects don't take effect at the end of a round. Now this player would normally have to discard this, except for they have the stasis token on there, so that keeps it alive for another round. And the cards in the scrap heap stay from round to round to round, so by the 3rd round you're going to have a pretty decent amount of cards in your scrap heap, and it's going to be pretty useful to be able to play cards like these that can swap things in and out. So now we would go ahead and deal 7 new cards out for the next round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you would continue. So you can go ahead and have as many gadgets going as once, but you risk not being able to finish one and not having a stasis token to be able to keep it there, which, by the way, that is removed at the end of the round. So that's pretty much how you're going to play. You'll play through 3 rounds, and at the end of 3 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner. Okay, that should give you a pretty good idea of how to set up, a rules overview, and how the game plays. Now I want to let you know what I like about the game. I like that it is a quick drafting game, kind of in the vein of Sushi Go Party. I like that kind of game. I think it's great, especially because I play a lot of gateway games because I'm in the military and I kind of travel around, and I've always got new people that I'm bringing into the hobby. So this is a great game, I feel, for bringing new people in. It's an interesting theme, simple mechanics. I think it's a solid game there. The theme is pretty interesting. I'm not big, I don't really have any Western games in my collection, so this is kind of interesting because it's got that kind of mashup between the Western and the alien. So it's an interesting theme, intriguing, definitely different from what I already have in my collection, so that's kind of cool. And I think it's also something that there's not really, I know Western Legends came out recently, but there's not like a whole lot of Western themed games that I think are well regarded right now. So I think it is a genre that has not been hit especially hard with quality games. And I do feel like this is a pretty decent quality game. So I do like the art. The card quality, especially for a prototype copy, pre-production, is pretty decent quality, so that bodes well for the quality going forward. And I like that it's a small form factor, the box size is small, easy to kind of carry around. So things that I don't like about the game, for me, it's a little bit cumbersome sometimes going back and forth between the scrap heap and moving things back to your area of play, your workshop. So I think it's really interesting that you can kind of put things in that scrap heap that will be able to carry forward to future turns or future rounds, but at the same time it's a little bit cumbersome. Maybe, I don't know if I want to say that the abilities and different extra effects should be easier to come by, or maybe more of them allow you to kind of interact with that, but maybe, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what could be done there, or even necessarily if it's a problem. I just know for me personally, I wish it wasn't quite so cumbersome being able to kind of move stuff back and forth between your workshop and your scrap heap. So people who will like this game are going to be people who like drafting games, like sitting around the table with their family. It's lighthearted. So if you like a lighthearted game, you like a game that's not too complicated, it's especially good for that kind of family vibe, or people who are not necessarily gamers, like an evening with some friends who aren't avid board gamers. I think it's a great game to kind of sit around, pick up, and have fun. It's also pretty entertaining as you call out the different names of the gadgets that you make. They can be pretty bizarre and they're just kind of fun to string together. I've noticed that people who aren't really into gaming and usually aren't even that goofy per se, they have fun calling out like, oh, I've got a scrap together doohickey with, I don't know, it's entertaining, so I like that. People who may not like this game, it doesn't have tons of meat to it. It is a drafting game, but as a drafting game, it's also a little bit on the streaky side. There just may not be the kind of things that come out that you want to be able to help you do what you want to do. Now, you can mitigate that by turning a card over and just using it as scrap, but you can find yourself in a situation where you just can't get something together that's actually going to be worth a lot of points to you. You can finish it, but it's just not going to be worth as many points just because the cards don't come out and they don't carry through from round to round unless you have that one special effect or ability token. So if you want something that you can be a little bit more hands-on and controlling in how you put it together, this might bug you a little bit. One of the things that I think this game will struggle with particularly, and this has nothing to do with the problem with the game, is that Sushi Go Party is kind of entrenched in this kind of space in most people's collections. So you're butting heads against kind of a giant in Sushi Go Party, just because that is a game that so many people are aware of, so many people have in their collections already. Now, maybe some people are also sick of that and they want something different, but I do think that is something that's going to be a little bit difficult going forward for the game. Not to say that you, as someone who's interested in the game, will dislike it because you already have Sushi Go or Sushi Go Party. They're different games, but that's something just to be aware of. All right, and those are my thoughts and kind of overview of Area 1851 Express by Justin Blaski and 524 Labs. Hopefully you have a pretty good feel for how the game plays, whether it's going to be kind of your style, whether it's going to be something that you like or not, so that you can make an informed decision and whether you want to support this game on Kickstarter. Overall, I'd give it like 1.5 thumbs up. I think it's a solid game. I enjoy it, and the people that I've played it with have enjoyed it. So if you want to know more about this game, make sure to check out the Kickstarter, look up all the other videos, all the other write-ups on this game, get to know it a little bit more. And if you want to know more about me and my channel, check me out at Blue Giant Media on YouTube, and you can also check out macronovagames.com if you want to know where to buy games like Area 1851 Express and a whole bunch of other stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and have a wonderful day.